Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the kitchen. On this episode of Get Your Grub On, we're gonna do a twist on a classic, lamb bacon. Now, I've done this before with actual pork belly, but today I'm gonna show you how to do it with some lamb breast. The reason why I'm going with lamb breast is because it's really fatty, just like pork belly, and I know there's a lot of people who don't eat pork, so maybe this might be a nice change of pace for you all. Now, typically, lamb is very gamey, but I'm gonna show you how I like to cure it and how I like to cook it to where you get a little bit of that flavor of gaminess and a lot of flavor of deliciousness. You ready? Cool. In front of us, we do have a few ingredients. For example, I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of pink curing salt, 3 tablespoons of kosher salt, 1/4 cup of sugar, and then of course, just a few more tablespoons of whatever seasoning you want to add on top of to complement all those flavors. So the first thing that we're gonna do is take all the bones out of this lamb breast. You ready? Let's do it. All you really want to do is find all the bones and try to cut them out as carefully as possible. What I like to do is I'll just kind of push down with my fingers, and that way we can separate it as much as possible to try to save as much meat as we can. And that's what we got right there. You're also going to have a little bit of this connective bone right here, so let's try to get that out as well. There you go. Now you just got to do it a bunch more times to get all the bones out of this lamb. And of course, we're also going to have to cut this bone out as well. A good spot right now where you can find the bottom of the bone just by feeling it, and we're going to continue to cut along the bottom, and that way we can get all these bones off. Now we got our lamb plate off. Now you can grill this if you want. You can eat all this delicious meat. What I would recommend is taking this film off so that way it's not so chewy. Totally up to you. And let's see if I can get this with just my fingers. So you got that deliciousness. We can grill these up at another time. But the next step that we want to do is mix all our seasonings up and get this all over our lamb breast, so that way we can start curing our bacon. All we're gonna do is just season this bad boy up, get all the nooks and crannies that you can, and we'll let this sit in the fridge for about a week. You can go 5 days, but we'll shoot for about a week, just so that way all that salt can dry out the moisture from this piece of meat. And I'll show you as we go. And now we can go into the fridge. Also, side note, after about 3 days or so, you can flip it over, drain all the water and liquid that comes out, and then continue to cure. All right, we've gone about 4 days of letting this cure. We're starting to get a little bit of liquid that's being drawn out from all the salt. All you want to do is drain that out, flip it over, and then we're going to do an added bonus and get a little light smoke on this too. And I'll show you that in just a moment. We've got a little smoking gun. I've thrown in some hickory wood chips, and we're just going to get a little smoke on this for added flavor. We got a good little smoke in here. We did this about 3 or 4 times just to get a good little flavor in there. We're going to throw this back in the fridge for another 3 or 4 days. All right, it's been about a week and a half. You can take the time to rinse off your bacon. You can leave all that flavor on, but I say we should cut a couple slices. Can save this for like beans and stuff like that. Just like with pork bacon, as thick as you want or as thin as you want. Totally up to you. And just like we do with regular bacon, cook it off. Just look at that bacon sizzle. And this is what we're left with. This is our lamb bacon. Of course, you can pat it dry, get a little of that extra grease off. But now we get to try it. Finger looking good. That gaminess is really good. The lamb breast itself, a little bit on the fattier side. So yeah, again, if you want to get some of that excess grease off, by all means, get a paper towel. My lips are going to be nice and shiny now, but you know, I'm not disappointed in that bacon. If you want to take it a step further, if it's a little too salty for you, you can always rinse it off, pat it dry, let it dry off that way. That's always a good way to go. But I like all that salt because, of course, bacon, for me, has to be really salty. But everyone does it their own way. However, again, the same way that I did pork bacon is the same way that I like to do lamb bacon. So to answer your question, yes, you can make bacon out of lamb breast. Technically not the same cut because it's lamb breast versus pork belly, but you get the idea. Anyways, hope you learned something. Today. Make sure you follow me on social media. Chef Steven Gonzalez on Facebook, Chef Stigons on Instagram and TikTok. Go to chefstevengonzalez.com, get a copy of my cookbook, get your grub on, and you know all the stuff. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we will catch you later. See you next time.